We finally have it. The first test team of the tour with Dave Rennie having named his test side. And big boost for the All Blacks. Cam Roigard is passed and fit. Damian McKenzie is passed and fit. And will both start, as will, obviously, All Black captain Ardie Savea, as we really start to ramp up. It's a very strong All Black side. A couple of inexperienced players in and around who will be playing their first games against the Springboks, and a couple of new faces the Boks won't really be that accustomed to. But it's a very strong All Black side. A 5-3 split resisted the urge to try and match Rassie Erasmus, as some international coaches do. But it's definitely a side that's going to go toe-to-toe with the Boks, and definitely a side that can play really high-tempo rugby, which, given the conditions in Johannesburg, will be pretty perfect for the All Blacks. Before we get into it, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well as become a member. Link in the description. Lots of cool benefits. We've got an analysis deck available for you this weekend where you can really look at exactly where the Boks and the All Blacks are going to try and have a go at each other, and really break it down as to things to watch, as well as giveaways such as tickets that we're looking to give away on the live streaming coming up for the Bok team announcement. So if we look at this All Black side, let's go through it, and then we'll start breaking it down, shall we? So front row, Ethan de Groot, Corey Taylor, Tara Lomax, and they're backed up by Josh Lord and Fabian Holland, two players who not as experienced as probably the locks we're going to see from South Africa, except for maybe like a Ruan Nokia, but very solid options. And then they've got a very experienced loose trio of Super Vi, Luke Jacobson, and Ardie Savea, who's obviously got 109 caps himself. It's a very strong pack. I mean, Ethan de Groot, I think, is a world-class loose here. Tyrell Lomax is by far the best All Blacks tight head as far as I'm concerned, and Cody Taylor brings in all that experience. The big thing for me is always the engine room, From a physicality point of view, how much can Josh Lord, Fabian Holland, and Tupou Vine match the Springboks' physicality? Cam Roigard next to Ruben Love as they continue their partnership. Ruben Love playing just his 9th test this weekend. Josh Morby in just his 3rd test. He's somebody that's come through very quickly, and they definitely see something in him that's they reckon is going to cause the Boks a bit of trouble. Then Geordie Barrett and next to Quintu Pai, as expected in the centres. Will Jordan, Damian McKenzie, no injury issues there. They do start. Damian McKenzie bringing up his 78th test this weekend. Then off the bench, and it's a powerful front row in the form of Asafa Amua, who I think is going to really announce himself this tour. I think he's one of the players to watch. If you're a Springbok fan, you're kind of which players you need to be worried about, I would put him in that list. George Bauer, Fetchenyor, that's a big part of this game this weekend is the reserve props and how they can kind of handle with whatever Rassie's going to throw at him. I mean, is Rassie potentially changing his team as we speak? That is the big question with regards to the Boks naming their team after the All Blacks. They then got with Anton Sejan and Peter Lakai. That's just form selection. This is what these tour games can do. I'm not convinced that Anton Sejan would have been in the bench mix when they arrived, but he's been so good and really put his hand up, and he's going to get the opportunity. And much like Peter Lakai, I think those are two probably been arguably the form forwards for the All Blacks, and they get their chance this weekend. Then Carl Preston, Anthony Brown, and Leroy Carter. So no fly half backup on the bench because you've got Damian McKenzie, who can shift into the number 10 jersey. Will Jordan can obviously go at full back. So Leroy Carter, a bit of extra pace if they need it as well. And then you've got Anthony Brown, who can cover both centres. Geordie Barrett can move around as well. And then Carl Preston as the reserve scrum off. I think it's a team that ticks all the boxes, to be perfectly honest. I think it really does bring everything that you need and you want. Speaking about the team, Dave Rennie said the following. He said, after all the build-up and anticipation, our whole touring squad is excited to get this first test underway. We have selected a balanced mix of big match experienced players and younger players who have earned the right to play in this first test. And that's why I mentioned, I think somebody like Josh Morby, I think that Peter Lakai, Anton Seja, Safa Moore, those are players who have, I think, really earned their way into this test side based on performances. He says, the first 3 franchise games have exposed our new players to the way South African teams play and have been fantastic in helping us build combinations and develop the game we want to play. We know the test series will be a huge step up. We're well aware of what the Springboks will bring to the contest and the pressure that will come to bear. They are number 1 in the world, playing at their spiritual home in front of the passionate fans, so we will have to be at our very best on Saturday. And that's the big thing. Malcolm Marx was asked about how big is playing at Ellis Park, and he said, well, we've got support all over the country, but I do think, Ellis Park is in many ways like the Boks home ground. That's where we want to be, creating those hostile environment. Hopefully the ticket sales are going well. But if we look at this sort of team, I think, the matchups are going to be interesting. I think Cam Roigard is the linchpin, the kinpin, the everything. about this team. I think that he is the one that really makes them tick and takes it up to a different level. Carl Preston, I think, is a very talented scrum half. I think Cortez Ratimer fills a good gap. But, I mean, I've watched Cameron Roigard live, and his reading of the game is incredible. During the 2023 World Cup, people were asking how they're going to replace Aaron Smith afterwards. And Cameron Roigard has shown that there was no almost sort of like drop-off, really. So him being fit is probably the biggest announcement, or the biggest part of this announcement, the fact that he will turn out. Because I think that his combination with Ruben Love is, first of all, getting a lot better. But Cameron Roigard reads the game so well. He sees opportunities. He's a running threat himself. You know, the All Blacks don't kick as much off 9 as other teams. He is a running threat, as well as obviously the speed of the ruck that the All Blacks want to try and play. And that's where somebody, you know, your engine room is going to be so important. You know, so Josh Lord, Fabian Holatupo, via Jacobson, you know, their grunt work. You know, Ethan de Groot as well as Tyrell Lomax. But the breakdown is going to be so important. How do those players get the Bok jacklers off? You know, we might see Paul de Villiers. Obviously, we're probably going to see Malcolm Marx. We're going to see Jasper Wiese, who's a breakdown threat. You know, we could very well see Thomas de Toy, who I think is very good at the breakdown as well. Even Etzebeth is really working hard on that, in that kind of part. But the big thing is, can those forwards get forward momentum? You know, can they get over the gain line advantage? And then can they get the breakdown right? So that Cameron got quick ball to get to Ruben Love to be able to release the likes of Geordie Barrett and Quinton Pye into the midfield and get the ball out wide to Will Jordan, Josh Morby, Damian McKenzie. You know, they've got playmakers at 10, 12, 50. I think Quinton Pye is also a very good distributor. So they've got playmakers, but it's all about, for the All Blacks, getting Will Jordan and getting Josh Morby into space where they can be dangerous and score tries. That, I think, is obviously the big test for this pack. And then it's the bomb squad, diffusers. That's really what these reserves are. They call them the run-ons at the All Blacks during the Hansen era. And can they bring a boost? And I think that's where they've picked really good impact players, because I think Asafa Moore is a good impact player. Serge Nalakai, Leonard Brown, those are players who I think can lift things up. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from Anton Leonard Brown. He's been around the block, but sometimes it's kind of fallen in and out. And he's played 90 tests. So it's interesting when you think that he's never kind of always held down a consistent spot the entire time, but he looks like he's back with a bit of a vengeance at the moment. So they tick all the boxes to the side. Ardie Savea, I mean, it's an inspirational captain to be able to have. The question is, can they match the Springboks physicality? Can they last the full 80? Which is the big question about the box, you know. Can they keep that intensity up throughout the match? Let me know what you think of this team down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.